I would like to start by acknowledging that we are standing on the sacred grounds of the Indigenous community. The Indigenous community have been stewards of these grounds for millennia. In order for us to build a healthy community and an inclusive future, we must acknowledge our past and strive for a better future. My name is Daniel, and I am the grandson of Thomas Ryan. I am the son of Mac White. My mother and my ancestors are members of the First Nation Tsimshian tribe. We are from the beautiful central coast of British Columbia. I am honored to share my space in the restorative home with several members of the Indigenous community. Some of you are here tonight because you're fans of chamber music. Some of you are here because you're members of the congregation. And some of you are here because your wife told you you had to be here and you had no choice in the matter. But I'm happy that we're all here together to share this moment. There is one common unity that brought us all together tonight. And chances are you haven't given it much thought. And that common thread that we all share is a natural human desire to be in community. We all have a need to be a part of something that's bigger than ourselves. We have a need to be a part of something that's bigger and more meaningful than the daily grind of our lives. Saturday morning when I woke up, the first thing that came to my mind is this moment that we're sharing together right now. And I contemplated the message that I wanted to share, and I contemplated what Communities of Belonging has done for me. Communities of Belonging is much more than a lovely sounding name or a lovely ideal. Community is much more than the gathering of people. Community is something that we all need on a basic level of survival. When I reflect on my life and the challenges that I have faced, I've struggled with addiction, and I have struggled with personal relationships, and struggled with life in general. The common thread during these times was that I was lacking community, and I was lacking support, and I was lacking inclusion. As an openly gay adolescent growing up in a small town in the 1980s, I was rejected by my peers. I was told that I was not good enough to be a part of my community. The consequences were catastrophic and lasted a lifetime. In December of 2021, I entered a drug and alcohol treatment center for my first and hopefully last time. The treatment center that I went to uses a therapeutic community model as opposed to the traditional 12-step program that a lot of treatment centers use. The therapeutic community is set up in a way that the counselors and the staff give you very little direction, very little interaction. You're forced to reach out to your peers for support, and you're forced to rely on each other. In order to be successful in this program, you have to become adept at building community. This was a transformative experience for me on multiple levels. At the age of 50, I had finally discovered the importance of being a member of a supportive community. I finally understood that if I looked in the right places and acted with integrity, I would find my peers who would accept me just as I am, and I would find my community. When I entered the treatment center, I was homeless, and when I exited 108 days later, unfortunately, I was still homeless. I had no choice but to return to the trap house that I had been living in. I was surrounded by drugs, and I was surrounded by chaos. I was desperately clinging to my sobriety. I managed to make it 5 days until I relapsed. For the next several months, I struggled with relapse and struggled with every aspect of my life. I moved into the restorative home at Communities of Belonging in August of last year, and I'm happy to tell you that since that time, I haven't had the slightest desire to use drugs. Thank you. It is through my experience with Communities of Belonging that I came to understand how vital it was that I found community inside of that treatment center. Communities of Belonging is more than a roof over my head, and is more than a safe place to be. I believe that things happen for a reason, and I believe my involvement with Communities of Belonging was divine intervention. I made a commitment to spend the rest of my time being of service to my community and providing support for those who need it the most. My tenure in the restorative home is coming to an end but I will always be grateful because I have found a supportive community, and that community accepts me as I am in this moment, and my community is growing by leaps and bounds every day. I will always be grateful because I finally have a sense of belonging. Thank you so much for your support, and more importantly, thank you for letting me be a member of your community.